This video is something that I wanted to introduce into this dissertation to try and get a more spatial and perhaps a cinematic understanding of my own personal experiences with space, the way I move within a space and the way I move within a further landscape of space as well. For me, there are moments in life in which you pause, you take a moment to reflect on the space around you, to understand for a moment of what is happening or who you are, or what does this mean to be here, what does it mean to be who I am. But realistically, it's all down to just truly understanding who you are in this very moment within this very space. And for me, it's not just about an architectural space, but it's about the moments in that space, the atmosphere, the textures, the way the senses become heightened, and the way you'll be able to just free your mind into a moment of reflection, and all this conscious thought is taken away, and that you are in that moment. Perhaps a Freudian slip in which you come to relish in taking a moment to who you really are. I wanted to include this video because we have all experienced a moment of thinking, what did I do? Why did I do that? Why am I thinking that? Is this really who I am? Because we're all human, and I understand that being human means coming with thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And everyone wants to know who they are. Everyone wants to feel secure of who they are. But realistically, there's only a statistical, perhaps 8% understanding of who we really are. And I'm quite keen to see how architecture and space kind of not manipulates, but maybe brings out this form of 20% perhaps of this unconscious that we don't realize we have, we don't realize is there. Thinking about architectural space, I realized that also psychophrenic architecture is also about how we see ourselves, and we reflect on the way we are, what we've done, what we've said. It's like a mirror. Much like Lacan said, it's this mirror of understanding, but not through a stage, but through our own reflection. There is no stages to it. It's just reflecting upon who we are and what we've done. Also, repression doesn't just come out in our voices and our behavior, but also in body language as well, and how we might crack our knuckles or crack our bones, or all these little moments that is like the repression coming out but sealing itself through this bodily language. We're trying so hard to stop ourselves from reacting in a way that we don't, or saying something that we don't. It's all to do with this idea of this unconscious and conscious mind, and this space in between, which is reflected in this term of psychophrenic architecture. And for me personally, there were moments that I would hide in a cupboard and use that small space to kind of escape from the reality of things, the reality of moments, and that I could be in that space, sat in that small box and just be able to release for a moment this hidden impulse, these hidden thoughts, these hidden things that at those times were giving me a strain on my mind and the way I functioned. And in that moment, I was able to use that space as a form of releasing myself and connecting with it in a way that I couldn't fully connect with people or be able to talk about certain things. Instead, I just wanted to sit and be in that moment. And also how we use space as a thing to release. It becomes this chamber, this hidden chamber. When you shut a door and all of a sudden you release the anger, you release the screams, you release whatever it is you were trying to compress so well during the day and surrounded by other people. And it's also in that moment, that fear of, why is this happening to me? Why do I feel like this? I don't want to feel like this. But it's also the way that we choose to release in this space and how we use that space to release. How can a certain space bring back a certain type of repression that is maybe linked to some form of trauma or past experience, or not even that? It's just based on the here and now and how we feel that space within the presence of now. All these recordings that I've made, just like this one, are all examples of my own spatial and bodily experience of architecture and my own repressions, how I use that space and how my body communicates with that repression. And repression doesn't have to be anything big. It's a build-up of everyday life struggles, of stress, or of little things that can add up, as well as these major events that may have happened in life that have caused you to act and be the way you are today. But I just hold on to those moments. The flicker of a candle, the soaring of a plane in the sky, the dark moments walking out at night, seeing the artificial light trigger down in a phone booth, or those moments in between that help us to kind of control, or maybe even just free the mind. And that's what architecture is all about as well. It's all about those moments, the circulation of movement, how we move around the space, and that transition from one to the other. The psychoanalytic view of it all is to understand how our mind works within that space, but also how can the mind be free within that space.